Hello and welcome to Killing Time. I can't talk this morning.
This
show.
show.
You know, we're going to keep that in. This is the show
Yes.
that searches for entertainment and instances in which we can make fun of the way I speak. I'm Ayaz Akhtar alongside the man who never stutters, the man who's always buffering. That's right. That's
me.
him. JB, what up?
Not much. What up with you?
Oh, I'm fine. Apparently, stuff happens. I don't... It's been a long week. It's Wednesday when we're recording this, March 21st. On Friday, March 23rd, Santa Clarita Diet Season 2 is coming out, and we've gotten to watch a couple of those things. We're going to run part of the trailer there. Can you explain and catch people up to what Season 1 was about?
Season 1 was pretty much about our main character, Drew Barrymore. Somehow, we don't know how, becomes a zombie. And the entire season is her, I think it's only 2 weeks of her first life as a zombie, as she and her husband come to terms with this and try and pretty much learn to live as a zombie, learn to find things to eat. You know, it involves a lot of hijinks, her having to kill people or trying to kill people, killing people by accident. The way the first season ended, I believe we had her husband in a mental institution and she was locked in the basement.
Yeah, that's pretty much the recap, and I believe Season 2 takes off right from there. So let's talk about a quick review without spoilers. When we hit spoilers, there'll be a spoiler bumper. You'll know that. And the trailer's still going over here, and there's a lot of scenes that I forgot about. So let's talk about Season 2. Picks up right where Season 1 left off. Like you said, Drew Barrymore's character, Sheila, is... I don't know if she's technically a zombie. They keep calling her undead, and she's eating people as sustenance. Also, she can create other undead people, which is important. I think so far of the 5 episodes I've seen of Season 2, I quite liked it. It's got the same kind of humor, same kind of feel. We are getting a little bit into the background as to some origins as to this, how this happened. Maybe we'll have a solution or an answer of why this happened by the end of the season. What do you think so far?
I like it so far. I feel like if people really like Season 1, they're going to like Season 2. It feels like it's almost the same season, almost like they took the same season and cut it in half. The characters are really good, really funny. The teenager characters are actually coming into their own this season so far, what I've watched. They're really funny and have just as many laughs as the adults do. That's one of the parts I do like more about this season than the first season. Like I said, the acting's good. Timothy Olyphant is absolutely hilarious. He says things and it just makes me laugh. Just the way he says them and the expressions on his face. We've gone into how great an actor he is many times on the show before, but you can't say it enough. He is funny.
Also, this show, if you saw the clips for Season 2, and that was in the trailer, by the way, as in Season 1, it is crazy gory. It's not like it's... It doesn't look like it's trying to do any real physics when it comes to blood. I assume I've never tried to rip somebody's neck apart with my teeth, but this thing sprays everywhere. There's blood everywhere constantly. Think of it more like a blender getting a person and just blood everywhere.
But it never feels like a scary way. It always feels like a funny way. I don't know if that makes sense to people, but that's how it is.
It's an extremely gory cartoon. There's a serious lack of realism. Let's go with the fact that there are zombies on Earth and there's somehow an undead segment of humanity that exists, and they are eating people to sustain themselves. Let's say all of that's fine. The violence is still a bit cartoony because it looks like at any given time, and this is not a spoiler because Season 1 is the same case, any given time you think the jig is going to be up because these two... As good as Timothy Olyphant's character and Drew Barrymore's character, Sheila and Joel, these two are not the best at doing this yet. They are a bit out of their league.
And that's what makes it hilarious.
Yeah, so like they really tackle the reality, or the reality, they are realtors, the reality of how do you keep handling dead bodies when this is kind of the way your wife can survive. So they have to keep doing this. And they maintain this bizarrely, extremely affectionate, nice, sweet marriage at the same time.
While being parents to a teenage girl.
Who is hilarious.
Yes.
All right, let's go into the spoiler section. I'm going to hit the spoiler bumper. There it goes.
Hit it.
All right, so you've been warned. If you haven't seen season 2 yet, you're going to get some mild spoilers here, maybe some serious spoilers here. I bet you we can't spoil like the last episode because neither one of us have seen it. I've got notes for the first 5 episodes. You've seen the first 5.
Yep.
What spoilery points do you want to hit?
Spoilery points I want to hit. I love the fact that Gary's not dead and just his head is alive. I don't know why I found that so funny, but it's kind of hilarious. Like I already said, the teenager characters, God, I can't remember his name, but
Eric,
who starts dating Ramona, who's the girl from the
Rite Aid
pharmacy from the CVS or whatever, and she turns out to be a zombie. That whole plot line's hilarious. The fact that the thing she puked up now has legs, or someone else's has legs, and it turns out to be something that's involved with the history of the undead, is interesting. Yeah.
The backstory that's being told at this point is really helpful because in the last season there's some kind of book that's supposed to explain some of this undead stuff. I'll keep going back to B-roll of this stuff because it's hilarious. There's that red ball that turns into some kind of spider thing. Joel McHale's got a cameo. Andy Richards got cameos. And you've got Timothy Olyphant killing it with this. And, there's just such great acting in this show so far. And just watching it cracks me up. So
and it doesn't take itself too seriously, which is good. I mean, that's what makes it funny.
Yeah, so we've got this expansion of the undead. We have more undead. We have these characters actually having kind of direction when it comes to what's going on, because otherwise you're just kind of watching people aimlessly trying to find food. But in this situation, they're trying to find out, kind of solve a mystery. How exactly did the Sheila character turn into this undead person or undead zombie? Because that's still not been answered in any which way in the first season. It's just kind of, well, this is what reality is now. I guess we're dealing with that. And now that we have a couple of more of these undead who are, they're handling it their way, I will say.
Yep.
Like you said, the Eric and Ramona arc, from what I've seen, is pretty hilarious. The idea that Joel and Sheila accidentally cause Ramona to kind of kidnap Joel. I wouldn't say kidnap, but get back together.
Eric. Eric. Yeah.
Kidnap Eric because she needs a Joel. She
needs the Joel. Yeah.
Some kind of person to help her carry on and clean up because Joel is so good. And all the while they're giving you such great marital advice and parenting advice. It's kind of just ridiculous. Gary, that's Nathan Fillion, right?
Yep.
His performance is very good. And he's still a jerk. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
And the standard of like, how come you didn't stab him in the head? It's like, well, of course you should have done that. This kind of idea of like, you should know the zombie rules, of course, right? But you would never think of that, I think. Even though I said this is like a cartoon, there's no way on earth I'd be thinking.
He was the first one. He was the first kill. So they hadn't perfected it. They still haven't perfected it.
Far from that. We got the red ball with the legs. We got Thomas Lennon in episode 5 as Principal Novak, who was cracking me up. Just lots of great casting in this show, lots of great acting. And I'm really glad Japopo is not a real place because this may be the origin of, or at least the distributor of food that may have caused the undead outbreak, which is now increasing. So I think it's definitely easy to watch. You can turn it on, turn your mind off if you want. You can pick up on it pretty easily. There's not a heck of a lot of, this sounds like a pun. It's like not a lot of brain-intensive stuff going on. Think of it as like Funny Dexter or like...
Yes. Yeah, it's in a good way, mindless entertainment. You can watch it, shut off, and just enjoy. It's half-an-hour episodes. I think there's, 10 of them?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
10 or 11.
I mean, yeah. So, I mean, definitely when it comes out on Friday, it's definitely worth a watch. Especially if you like the first season, you're going to like the second season.
It's easily bingeable, I will say that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah.
Before we get to our next thing, our review of Jessica Jones a little further in depth, let's give a shout out to our patrons over at patreon.com/IAS. Thank you guys for supporting our show so far. This is, I think, episode 152. If you are a part of the Patreon at patreon.com/IAS, we actually released last week a very old video. Now, I don't think, Rob, you know about this because I didn't tell you about it, but I sent out the Mario Kart video.
Oh.
which we built years ago. I believe it's circa 2008, 2009. So that's pretty old. I dug it up. If you want, you can check it out at patreon.com/IAS. You just got to be a patron, and there's early access for patrons, so 3 days later. So if you want to see some of the stuff we did a long time ago and wonder, you guys turned that into a job? Like, yeah. So, and or you're like, I don't want you doing anything like that again. You can pay us to avoid us doing that again. So thank you guys for your continued support. If you want to help the show, spread the link, patreon.com/IAS. That's going to help us a lot. Anyway, let's talk about Jessica Jones Season 2. Now, we did a spoiler-free review several weeks ago when I got to see part of this. You hadn't seen any of the episodes, I think, at the time.
Right.
And now this show's been out for a while, so if you people at home haven't seen it, we're just going to put the spoiler up front, because if you're watching this review, spoiler. All right, Jessica Jones Season 2 has been out for a while. You're up to episode 5 or 6 or so.
6, I think. Yeah, 6.
What are your impressions thus far?
I like it. A lot like the first season. The only thing I'm missing that we had in the first season was a really good bad guy so far. I don't know what happens later in the season, but I feel like without the first season obviously had Kilgrave. I feel like I don't have this in season 2 yet. I'm guessing it's coming. I'm guessing there's a lot coming. It's kind of slow. It's good acting, great storytelling, but definitely a slow burn. You know, that's probably why I've only gotten through 6 episodes. I can't quite binge it. I can only go through 1 or 2 episodes, at a time, unfortunately, because I do kind of like to pay attention and see what's going on. But I do like it. It's a good show. It's well thought out. The acting is, of course, still amazing. We have a lot of the same people as season 1. We're getting a lot more of her backstory and her history in this season. I'm guessing we're going to get a whole lot more towards the end of the season. So good stuff. One of the best Netflix shows, but I definitely liked season 1 so far better than season 2.
Yeah, it's a little slower than season 1, and there's a lot of brooding and standing and drinking and sitting and drinking and sitting and standing and staring. There's a lot of stuff that if you aren't paying attention, stuff might be happening that you're not even realizing. There's just a lot of soulful looks, and it's important. You need to have those beats, and I'm not saying that this show is just it's ripe with all of these pointless scenes, but I think I was reading this article somewhere about the Netflix problem of 13-hour movies. Maybe they don't need to have this serialized 13. Maybe in the middle, you could have an episode like Breaking Bad's Fly episode, where you have the randomness of just Jesse and Walt trying to clean, and they're just dealing with the fly. That episode doesn't really serve or move the plot forward. It does add a little bit of character development, but you didn't need it ever. But it's a fun kind of breather for the whole season, because you have this ongoing serialized story. Sometimes you need a small break. I think in Jessica Jones, you have the standard thing that's going on with Netflix shows, that you have this serialized program. You got to pay attention to every single episode. And I compared to Santa Clarita Diet, which is a much shorter show and a comedy, that's way more bingeable than Jessica Jones. I think you can probably go through about, I'd say 3 to 4 hours of Jessica Jones. That's, I think, on the high end. And then take a break, because it does balance comedy, and it balances action and violence, but it's not like it's a light ride. There's no,
it's heavy. It's a heavy show, but I mean, she's a heavy character. I mean, that's just the way it is.
It's by design.
She's got a lot of baggage. She's got a lot of history. I mean, it's actually a lot of the other characters. Most of the characters have a ton of baggage in the show. Her, Trish. I mean, everybody's got crappy pasts, and bad things have happened, and you feel that.
Yeah, so it's not exactly like an uplifting program at times. Great acting throughout, great writing throughout, but again, a heavy, heavy show. I still think it's arguably Marvel's best television show right now. I watched all of Runaways. I found that incredibly slow, and it doesn't go anywhere. That's one thing. Versus Jessica Jones, it may be a little slow, but it's going somewhere. Punisher, I think, is up there in the tops there. Daredevil season 2, also way up there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Inhumans. I know you've seen Inhumans.
Oh my God, so bad. Just there's no words.
Yeah, I can't. I
Yeah.
tried to watch it. I really did. I made it about
No.
4 seconds, and then I had
No.
to tap out.
Nope. No, don't even bother. Don't waste your time. Pretend it never happened.
So, I think that's going to do it for us. Unless you've got anything else we should say to our fine viewers.
I got nothing. Just definitely Santa Clarita Diet for light fare, and Jessica Jones for a little bit heavier, thought-provoking fare.
And also on the weekend, on the 23rd, there's going to be a new movie on Netflix called Game Over Man. It's basically Die Hard meets Workaholics with the guys from Workaholics. So I'm cautiously optimistic, and I think 90 minutes of it should probably suffice.
I plan to watch it this weekend, so maybe that's what we'll talk about next week.
Yeah, I think it's going to be better than the Cloverfield Paradox.
I think so.
Going out on a limb there. All right, we'll see
Yeah.
everybody next week on Killing Time.
Bye.